episode 1 kicks us off exactly after the end of X-Men 96, hence the 97. This is meant to be the year after. We're back in that fuck-ass mansion. I hated it. I saw that couch. I saw that old fucked up TV. I said, we're down. But okay, Beast is still in his underwear at all times of day.
We sound like Storm in episode 2.
The breeze is gone.
Yeah, and basically Charles Xavier is dead. Boo-hoo. So sad. Next point.
He's not dead. He's in space.
Who cares? Truly.
All right.
I realized that his date of death is 11/11, and that's the necklace I wear around my neck. And I'm just like, oh, you see how the universe aligns that I wear the death of Charles Xavier around my neck?
If you didn't know that there was a level 800 of hateration, Tiffie has just showed it to you.
You were there.
Tiffie just went Super Saiyan 3 of hateration.
My angel number is when Jean died, but that's just different.
Which time? There's so many.
I was like, how many angel numbers do you have?
It's a long chain.
Necklace is long as fuck. You gotta walk into the room sideways. So everybody is at the mansion, and then of course we start going after a sunspot. For those of you who are anticipating an Afro-Latino, that is not what we're getting. There's nothing. The Afro is gone.
Rude.
Rude. We have a very cafe au lait.
Amaretto.
Mm-hmm.
He's giving doesn't have to ask any questions in Sephora.
Okay.
He's also the whole anchor of the episode. He's hunted down by Friends of Humanity, and the whole X-Men's mission is to go and save Sunspot. Sunspot origin has now been changed, so he's not a footballer who gets abused because he's black and then discovers his mutant power. He is actually a light-skinned Latino who is hiding his blackness from his folks. It's literally, he turned on one nigga arm at the end. He said, I could never tell them about this. And then he turned it back off. But everybody breaks in. There's some really cool fights. It's a nice little arc, but it's a nice little intro. So that's where we are. That's where we are with the episode.
Okay, so this is what happens. So I think, was it the end of last episode where they show up and take Magneto away to the court, and that's where he goes. So this is basically going to be the trial where he's speaking on behalf of like the crimes that he committed in the past, even though he was really dope and like rescued the children and all the people from the Ferris wheel that was like spinning and things. He's trying to show good faith and basically be like, even though my ideals don't necessarily align with Charles Xavier's, as a show of good faith, I am going to just like play along and just cooperate and things like that. So at the trial, the Friends of Humanity start to break in, and they are after not only Magneto, but also who's that tribunal?
UN tribunal?
They're after the UN, because they're like, not only are we after the mutant, but just the fact that you are giving this mutant a fair trial, you guys are blood traitors, you're race traitors basically, and we're going to come after you too. And Magneto uses that to further his point, like, oh, even when you do the right thing, you're being attacked. I wonder what that feels like. Some of the X-Men team, because they're all there, do they ever wear like business casual? Because they showed up for a fight, which I think maybe was kind of wild. Like, they didn't show up in their suits or anything to court, but part of them go to handle like the Friends of Humanity that are breaking in, and to handle the executioner that came with them, and he has like special weaponry, so he's gonna be harder to kill. And it's Storm and Magneto on the inside, and Storm is just like, I need you to go get men over on that side, undo Magneto right now, because he has on the collar that suppresses his mutant abilities. And the guy is like, I don't think, and she's like, do not think, just listen and you'll survive. I love how she told that man to shut the fuck up. But then when the executioner comes in, he's trying to shoot Magneto with his gun, and for whatever reason, Storm is compelled to save this white man, so she takes the shot instead.
So I am confusion.
And ends up like without her powers, flailing on the ground.
America, explain!
And like, oh my, like, I know you just got shot, but please stand up. After that beautiful, very powerful scene that they gave her in the previous episode, why they got her on a salmon that like a bear swatted out of a river. It's very strange. And Magneto, who's been like the only real motherfucker to really like respect Storm, is like, oh hell nah, not my girl. And so he like takes everyone basically up into space, which I thought was a little bit extreme, but he had a point to make. And he's like, I could kill you, but again, I'm trying to be a better person. I'm going to show you the mercy that you refuse to show us, and I'm going to let you live. He basically gives a whole big old long speech about that, and in the end, he takes them back down. They decide to absolve him of all of his crime, and then Storm has a blood test done to figure out like what's going on. It turns out that the loss of her powers is permanent. So Jean is like, we'll stay with you, girl. And Storm's like, I don't want all that. So she leaves by the end of the episode, and Rogue and Magneto, because it's heavily hinted that they have something going on, which Gambit overhears. This is the Heartbreak Hotel. This is a... I don't know. I wouldn't take that. I would just walk in the room and make it awkward for everybody. You're not about to have me out here looking stupid. But he just like drops the card on the ground and like walks away all sad. And that was episode 2. But I don't really remember what happened.
Oh, who showed up? Who showed up at the end? Someone else showed up at the very end.
Oh yeah. There was a knock at the door, and then it's Jean, and she like steps inside, and they're like, oh my God, it's Jean. But then pregnant Jean is also right there. So there's 2 Jeans, and she immediately faints.
So in this episode, basically, it's an adaptation of the Jean and Madeline stuff from Inferno, very loosely, but emotionally, I think, gets at the heart of a lot of it. Basically, they're all like, well, Beast ran some tests, and this new Jean is the one who's like accurately as old as Jean is supposed to be, and your DNA is looking weirdly fresh. And she's like, why won't anybody believe me? And Scott is like, we just need to be sure, Jean. And so she goes off to the baby's room to be with Nathan, and this was good. It's the scene from like the orphanage where Mr. Sinister reveals it all, but here he delivers it to her through the baby monitor, which I thought was a cute detail, and he basically tells her like, I created you. So it's the cartoon Sinister voice, which I cannot do without like a vocoder, but he's like, I created you, and now I will have your child. Yes, my queen, your royal hair, or whatever. And he activates her sleeper programming and turns her into the Goblin Queen. She then does an Inferno, but just in the X-Mansion, because we've only got 20 minutes and it's the 90s cartoon, so we don't go anywhere else. We have 8 30-minute episodes and we got to hit all these marks. So suddenly she has demon powers. Why? Unexplained. Doesn't really matter. The point is that Jennifer Hale is serving cunt on a silver platter for the next like 15 minutes. The X-Men fight with Madeline. She fights Magneto and it's pretty cool. She gets a moment where like Magneto's like, my magnetism. And she's like, yeah, can you do shit with the glass? Because I'm going to use the glass then. Point is, it ends with Jean, the real Jean, has gotten her memories back because she and Logan were like kind of getting sensual. But she immediately goes, Scott! Which was funny. That made me laugh in the theater. She does an astral projection. It's cool. She like confronts Maddie. She ends up psychically dragging Maddie into her own womb to experience the birth of Nathan from Nathan's perspective, which is insane. This is an insane sequence for like ostensibly the Fox Kids cartoon, right? Basically, Jean snaps her out of it. The Sinister gem shatters on her forehead because she realizes I love my baby, and even if I'm not the real Jean, he's my baby. And so she and Scott team up to fight Sinister, but Sinister has already infected Cable with the techno-organic virus. In this continuity, he's doing it to make him invulnerable, like an Achilles kind of thing, but they interrupt the process and now he's fucked. And because we can't use Rachel, because there's only one Rachel, so you can't have Rachel in this cartoon, the sidestep that's clever here is that Bishop takes the baby into the future instead. And they're going to go meet up with Forge in the future, so then we cut to Forge in the present, where he's meeting up with Storm.
The breeze is gone.
For life death. And that's the end of the episode. Oh, except Jean is like, other Jean, stay here. This is your home too. And she's like, actually, I'm going to get out of here. Picked a new name. It's Madeline Pryor for some reason. Just call me that. I'm heading out. I got a suitcase. We're Gucci, but like, I need to not be here.
Okay, so part 1, it's Jubilee's birthday. The X-Men are all sitting around eating muffins in their spandex. And Jubilee wants to take them all to the arcade. And Magneto's like, no, I'm too grown up for that, you child. And so she runs off to Roberto's house. They are playing video games. They get sucked in, and it's Mojo. And he basically kind of sucks them into the X-Men fighting game from the 90s.
You are helpless against my power, X-Men.
They have to fight a bunch of people, and there's a mysterious force helping them out. And it turns out to be Jubilee version of, like, the beta version of Jubilee from the game, who has, like, really cool grey hair.
It's been 84 years.
And she helps them escape. Then Jubilee learns to like enjoy her life or something, and then manages to escape the game, and then like has a make-out sesh with Roberto on his bed.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, hot. And then part 2 is Life Death Part 1.
The breeze is gone.
Where Storm's gone and moved in with Forge, who approached her at that bar, and putting her in a machine and trying to get her powers back. She's riding around on horseback in very like suggestive scenes. They notice an owl following them. They go back home. Forge is like, I love you. Also, I'm the one that invented the machine that took away your powers. She's like, I hate you. and slaps him. And then somebody that I thought was the Shadow King.
This is so tame. She was like, "Oh, I hate you."
I'm sorry. Are you laughing because this is the best recap ever? Is that what's
yes.
Good.
Please
It is kind of
continue.
amazing.
Anyway, she slaps him, and he and then they get attacked by someone. Maybe the adversary. Yeah, that was what Googling led me to. And then and then to be continued.
Thank you for that. Yes, that was that was it. That was what happened in it's just the way that you were so like calm through some pretty devastating scenes. You were like, then he says he loves her, and then he also says that he invented the machine that robbed her of her powers. And then she went,
she was like,
no, slap. She was so angry. She said slap.
People tell me this all the time. I thought I felt like I was in it. I was like Storm when I was telling them that. I was like, how could you?
X-Men 97, remember it starts off with Trish Toby, aka Very Messy Girl, interviewing mutants at the X-Mansion. Meanwhile, messy man Magneto is flying Rogue and Gambit to Genosha, which had been, what can we say, gentrified. And while they're there, a council of white folks are just like, yo, bro, we want you to be our leader. And he's like, I don't know about that. And then he starts plotting, right? Magneto's like, this is how I can, move up the ranks with my girl over here, even though I should be raising my 3 other kids. So while that's going on, we cut back to the mansion, and Jean is having an existential crisis, and Logan, of course, is going to be there. But we see a side of Logan that we didn't expect, which is nice. I think we go back to Trish Toby asking Scott, like, why are you hiding your child? I've seen the report. So then Scott flips out and goes, I've done everything to protect y'all, and y'all can't let me live and have my things, and has a dramatic episode. And then he has another dramatic episode because he got caught mentally cheating with someone who thought was the original Jean, but then it's not the Jean. So you got this Jean love triangle that is crazy. And then we cut back to Genosha, and Magneto's like dancing up on Rogue, and everybody's like, hey bro, y'all gotta chill. There's people around here. There's kids presents. You can't be like that. And then shit hits. Well, before that, my bad, I skipped the point. Rogue and Gambit have their what are we talk. Then we get to a dance sequence, and hearts are broken in that sequence. We get to a dance sequence, everything's a little cool and weird, and then people start attacking Genosha, and it becomes nothing but a traumatic experience for mutants, for the audience, for the animators, for the story artists, for the actors who had to record all that dramatic stuff. But it looked cool. We get to see kind of the best version of Gambit that we've seen in a very long time. We get to see a lot of human moments with these characters. It's really dope. And then we hit you with the to be continued, at the end. So
episode is Life Death Part 2, and in it we're following Storm kind of where it left off, with her and Forge dealing with the adversary. Last time we saw adversary took a big old little chomp out of Forge's shoulder and poisoned him.
I'll tell you how I'm doing. Not well, bitch.
And so basically we learned that there is a very sacred plant that Storm needs to go get. The journey is going to be very difficult, so she's like, nah, fuck that, I'm still gonna go. And Forge is like, I'm going with you, because if you leave me here, girl, I'ma die. Then what's that gonna look like? And she's like, my love that I've known for 1 month, you can come with me. You won't slow me down at all. This is gonna be so great. So they go, and as they are making their way to this, he does some spell work to banish the adversary. So they think that, they're good and whatever, but it's the poison that is now the issue. Once they get to the magic cave, the issue then becomes that Storm has to fight her own insecurities, her own fears that we've known about for a very long time, and that she has to go through a very tight space in order to retrieve this magical herb.
Clap if you have anxiety.
And that's when Forge was like, oh, that's why I came with you, because I know that you didn't like tight spaces, so you manipulated me. Yeah. So they go to do that. At the same time, we're whisked away to a storyline I personally did not care about. Charles is alive, I guess. He's with the Shi'ar, and the big issue there is that him and Lilandra are to be married. Deathbird, Lilandra's sister, is just like, hell no, that's an Earther. The entire Milky Way is fucking ghetto.
What is this, honey?
So why would we have someone like him come to help rule our planet that don't even make no kind of goddamn sense?
Ooh, the ghetto!
to where ultimately Charles has to be like, you know what, I'm a professor. Let me put on my tweed fucking overcoat and school these people. And he put them in class on some dangerous minds shit. Ultimately, what happens there is that he is trying to school the Shi'ar on just how their way of living is very colonizer-y and not very right. Oh, because the whole deal is if Charles is going to marry into the family and into the throne, so to speak, he has to, what was it that they invoked Mdasha, which is like basically he has to get rid of all memories of Earth. He has to turn his back on the X-Men, get rid of all memories of Earth. Lilandra is the one that has to do it, and that way Charles can prove his loyalty. That was set forth by Deathbird. Back with Storm, the big issue becomes ultimately that as she is facing her fears, the adversary returns, and we learn that the adversary is a very real villain, but more importantly, what's been holding Storm back from getting her powers wasn't the gun.
There was that lie.
And Forge's machine did work, but she was the one holding herself back. She was not ready to step back into that power. She was in a place of like, man, it's easier for me to hide as a mutant. I receive so much hate for this. My life is made so hard from the people that all I want to do is exist, and I am different from them. It was easier to fall back and play dead rather than choose to face life, basically. So it wasn't so much a matter of what outside forces prevented Storm from getting back her powers, but rather what was going on the inside. And then she had her whole magical girl moment, grew her hair back with lightning strikes, struck a pose in the mid-air, said goodbye to that fuck-ass mullet hawk. And then we saw the goddess turn. That was the best part of the episode, but of course they took us home back to Charles and some shit that we don't care. And ultimately, while he was in this astral plane with the Shi'ar and schooling them, he receives that psychic image. I suppose that is when Genosha happens. He sees this image of like the earth exploding and Gambit is dead. He knows by name who's died. He knows what happens. And he's like, fuck all this nonsense. I have to go back to Earth. I have to go back to X-Men. And then at the very, very end of the episode, Bolivar Trask is like, no, I gave you my DNA for Master Mold. Please, what else? Genosha was so bad. They really tried to make us feel bad for this man. And Sinister is just like, hey, all you gotta do is submit to Sinister.
All right, so we open up. It's a funeral. It's Remy's funeral. It's very sad. We look at all the graves. It's terrible. Rogue isn't there. Where is she? We gotta find her. Guess what? She's fucking people up on a base. And you know what? She's right to do it.
My notes are too raggedy for this. I can't.
My notes are thorough, but they're like chaotically bisexually thorough. So there's no names, but there's like, I'm horny about this. I'm like,
X-Men join in. She finds Captain America. He's a dick as usual. Everybody goes for some reason to the council building where there's some very lax security. They managed to get into a super secret that was not super secret thing. A man's going to throw himself off. Everybody stops him. Boo-hoo. He tells them secrets. She lets him go. No. Now it's a different problem. Everybody's beefing. We find out if Bastion at the end.
And over on the other side, we have Jubilee and Sunspot going to Genosha. They are helping the people in Genosha, but then Jubilee takes Sunspot to the side and says, hey, you're gay. And then he's like, yeah. And then she's like, okay, so you gonna tell your mom or not? He decides to take her to his skyscraper apartment where he goes to visit who we think initially is his dad, but it turns out to be his mom. He tells her, hey mom, I'm a mutant. And then she's like, oh my God, that's fine. We kind of knew about it anyway, but we are not going to tell anyone because if we do, J.K. Rowling's gonna get really mad at us and our stocks are gonna So that is the end of the Sunspot story. Elsewhere, in the middle of all of this, while they're all helping the Genosians survive, Jean and Scott are in the rubbles trying to help people, and they're talking about how they're all really sad and stuff. And then Jean just topples over and has a little psychic vision. She's like, no, there's a telepath here. Scott is like, oh my God, Maddie's alive. And so he goes and he runs and he digs through, and then smash cut, the next scene, we see this glowing orb of gorgeousness just sprint forth from the ground.
It's too much feeling. What happened?
All right, fine. So what happens next is Andy Cohen steps up and then he's like, Emma, you're Diamond. And she's like, I've always done well under pressure. And that is really the only moment that matters and that I will be proceeding to talk about for the next 20 minutes. So Valentine, Come on, you and me, let's go. And that was the recap. I think we've all workshopped that one together.
I think the stuff that really stands out to me was Cable realizes or lets everybody know that Xavier was wrong. His plan was always ass. Tolerance is extinction, or at least subservience to from mutant kind. Bastion and Sinister have a weird kink, holding up Magneto and his speedos for whatever fucking reason.
Bastion was dunking rednecks in the goo.
Yes, yeah.
I'm bringing them back up. The January 6th activation plan happened.
Yeah, we had a January 6th activation plan. We had the Summers family drama was kicking up in full gear this episode. We got a glimpse and a flashback of Bastion's backstory. So we find out who this pink person is.
He had his Man of Steel moment.
We didn't give a shit about none of it. They tried to show us grandmothers.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, elsewhere, we have Jubilee and Sunspot.
I love you, but you are not serious people.
Oh, I constantly forget about them. Yeah, they're on the show too.
As you should. Jubilee gets a new outfit, and then we see her have issues with Sunspot's mom because Sunspot's mom is doing a charity gala that evening for the Genosian mutants. Then when all the shit kicks off with the Sentinels, Sunspot crashes in on the gala, and then she gives him away to the Sentinels and betrays him.
Yeah, everybody flips. There's a big fight. Everybody's got a problem.
Mansion destroyed.
Yeah, mansion is destroyed. Don't worry about that. They got a Porsche inside the Jeep. They got a Porsche inside the Jeep, inside the helicarrier, inside the mansion. So it's fine.
The third Genevieve. My goodness.
Yeah, the money is long. Don't worry about it. Then there's loads of Wahala, and then after the Higgy Hagga, then Xavier crashes a car into his own building, and that's kind of it.
Okay, let's start with the opening credits. If you skip intro for the opening credits, you need to be psychologically studied.
Ash, do you have something to say?
Now, why am I in it?
You know why.
Let's move on.
Oh my God, you skipped the intro?
No.
He does.
See what happened to Sisterhood.
Are you forgetting what show we're watching? Pick a side, bitch.
Every day I come here, I am abused.
I guess it starts with Professor X.
Yes, yeah.
Calling his X-Men. Then it has a conversation with Jean and Cyclops, and Cyclops is basically letting Professor X know, what the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah.
There's a scene also where Jubilee and Roberto are running, and Storm and Forge come to save them. Storm comes down like the goddess that she is and just fries the shit out of people and saves the day. Magneto. Basically, which kind of annoys me because he put clothes on, and I'm like, damn it. It's also now very telling because he put his other costume on. I was trying to be nice. Now I'm going to show you the real motherfucker. And I said, oh, here we go. He said, I'm going to shut shit down. No, nothing. Nothing is on.
I see dead people.
Magneto's Air Force One costume, the EMP pulse, everything goes down. And then
the world only has 12 hours to survive.
Yes.
Cyclops splits the teams into blue and gold.
Yep.
Storm was the leader of the whole team.
Oh, and there was that Storm and Jean Grey scene as well.
I was like, oh, that is sisterhood. I said, there you go.
Yeah. Does it end with Jean dying at the end?
Yeah, they split into two. One goes to fight Bastion, one goes to fight Magneto. Sinister comes out and starts to be a bit of an arsehole. He turns Cable against Jean. Cable unleashes his telekinetic power. It looks like Jean dies. And then Scott, who's over dealing with Magneto, sees it. Wolverine gets his adamantium ripped out by Magneto. Wolverine stabs Magneto. It's more drama.
Tolerance of Extinction Part 3.
Was it? We are in Vietnam, and two men are on a date. It's just Magneto and Xavier, and they're like, "Oh my God, are you a mutant? Oh my God, I'm a mutant."
So they're in the bar and they're talking, and they're like, "Mutants are a thing." No, they're not. Yes, they are. I'm one. I'm one too. We're not going to kiss.
Well, then it turns out they're in his head.
It cuts to Bastion, and Jean is under the sea.
We see Ariel. Nope, it's Jean.
We see Ariel
under the water dying.
Like, I'm going to steal your voice.
Yeah.
My husband was like, "Oh my God, Jean Grey drowned," and I was like, "You idiot." And then I think what happened was Bastion grabs Storm by the throat. He's choking many women in this episode. He grabs Storm by the throat, and then her eyes go white, and she rains thunder. Oh no, that's not what happened.
No.
That's what we wanted to happen.
What actually happened?
And then Phoenix, a concept I am not familiar with. Phoenix comes out of the lake. She is on fire, and she turns Mr. Sinister
into Elmer Fudd.
We go back to our lovers from Vietnam, and they're like, oh my God, ew, we're inside my head, and I don't even know who I am anymore. I have amnesia.
Yeah, and then Magneto's all like Willow from season 6 of Buffy, where he's like, I fucking hate everything. I'm just going to destroy the entire world. And he's like, well, what about the mutants? And he's like, they'll figure it out. And then they're just like fighting. But finally, is this when Xavier takes over his mind? Am I right?
Yeah, he starts like taking over his mind, and then we cut to the reality where they are. They're on Asteroid M. Logan is laid out. Rogue is all of a sudden fine. She's like, hey, y'all, we're best friends, right? We're like, you just hit me. Oh, they have it, Magneto and Xavier on the ship, and they're like, unconscious. Oh my God, our gay love is trying to get through. Bastion, and he flies up to Asteroid M, and he's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool, fuck you. And then they fight. The rest of the team comes in with a Sentinel and takes Bastion down. And then this is where Storm has her Omega moment. It's Omega empathy for a genocidal maniac.
And then meanwhile, the president of the United States was like, hey, there's a big asteroid above New York. We should shoot a missile at it.
We should shoot missiles at it so that it flies backwards into the sun.
Because that's how it works.
Yeah, and so they do that, and then the Bastion's like, you know what? I am a good boy. Oh no, human missiles! And then the missiles take down Asteroid M. The X-Men do everything they can. I love Beast is like, I know, I have a plan. I've thought of it. Everyone used their powers at the same time. Genius. And then Xavier finally shakes Magneto and is like, don't you get it? You're gay. And he wakes up, saves everybody, and then boop, explosion. That feels weird.
Yeah.
And then Val Cooper, not Mystique, is like, where did they go? And then we find out what happened because Bishop, remember him from 8 years ago? He shows up and he's like, don't you see? I'm the bridge to season 2. And we're like, oh.
And then it turns out it was Apocalypse all along.
and half of them are in the future. Half of them are in the past.
Right, the future. Rogue and her brother Nightcrawler are like, oh my God, we're in Egypt. The sand, it's ruining my hair. And then they're like, who's this hot guy with really big blue lips?
He's so hot.
In the future, it's like, hey, Jean, it's me, Scott. All of our kids are 3,000 years in the future for some reason.
After credit scene?
After credit scene is Apocalypse.
Apocalypse is basically like, guess what I'm going to do with Gambit? Something.
We should splice these together into like a season recap from every episode.
It's on the agenda. It's on the agenda. That'll be the grand finale.